and our next speaker will be Professor Dr. Virginia Dignum. She is also connected remotely from, I think, Umeå, from Sweden. Is that right? Can you hear us?
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay. Yes. Good.
So,
happy to be here. Apologies not to be in person. I'm indeed in the north of Sweden, in Umeå.
So, thank you very much for joining. Professor Dr. Virginia Dignum studied in Lisbon, Amsterdam, and Utrecht, and she worked as a consultant and system developer before she returned to research at a later stage in 2003 and got a doctorate degree. And she's now professor in responsible AI at the Department of Computing Science at Umeå University in Sweden, and director of the AI Policy Lab, and is also associated with the faculty Technology Policy and Management at the Delft University. She's a member and senior advisor in several advisory boards, for example, at the UNECE or the Wallenberg Foundation. She received multiple rewards and grants, and her research focuses on complex interactions and interdependencies in between people, organization, and technology. And we are now very much looking forward to your talk, and a warm welcome to Virginia Dignum.
Thank you very much. Let me just see what I need to share. Always the... Yep, I believe I'm sharing my slides.
We cannot see them yet. There's still a technical problem. Now we can see the slides. You can
good.
Start.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Always the technology problems of trusting technology starts with sharing slides and stuff like that. But unfortunately, that's one which seemingly we couldn't solve yet. Anyway, my talk today, and I'm very happy to be here, and thank you again for the possibility. My talk today will be a bit more on the human and social side of trust in AI, and try to create, to provide an overview of what does it mean when we talk about trustworthy AI, what kind of impacts and what kind of ways are we seeing that AI is interacting with people, with our environment, and what does that mean moving forward with the developments in AI, but also in the development on the governance and on the policies around AI development, use and deployment. So to start with kind of a summary of what I'm going to say, just to put everything together up front, it is important to realize that AI, like any other technology, is not neutral. It's based on our choices, it's based on our options, is based on our understanding of a situation, is based on the current developments of methods, theories, and technologies, but it always takes a stance, intended or unintended, and we need to be explicit and study explicitly the impact that AI has as we move forward. AI can, like we have seen many times, advance human dignity, human well-being. It can advance the quality of our societies and our environment, but at the same time, and we see that again and again in the news almost daily, it can undermine all of it. The systems that we develop embody the choices that we make. So trusting AI is not really about trusting AI as a technology, but is much more trusting ourselves. And if we look at the current understanding and the current developments in AI, it's very easy to believe and to take the stance that to build better AI, we need to do more. We need more data, we need more computational power, and we need stronger algorithms, which for a large part, taken the paradigm of development that we are using nowadays, it's for a large part true. But in other hand, these things are not neutral or not without side effects. So if we talk about data and we talk about more data, this is an image of the world as AI could see it, depending on the data availability, dependent on the uses and the existence of data sets. We create understanding of the world which is very different from what the world is in reality. This is an image from the Mozilla Internet Foundation report of 2021, I believe. I suppose that if we would make this image today, it would be by no means less biased, less distorted, probably even more. It is also important, if you are interested, to remember that from these blue areas, there are 50% of these data sets can be traced back for 12 organizations only, of which only one of those 12 is in Europe. So the data availability, the need for more data comes with choices, comes with options, and comes with opportunities, but also with losses. On the other hand, if we look at computing power, and this is something which fortunately is becoming more and more clear to all of us, it comes with costs, it comes with choices again. Not only in terms of how energy is being used and how much energy is being used to run all these data centers and computational centers that are needed to deal with the AI that we are developing nowadays, but also in terms of water usage, natural resources usage, but at the same time also about the economic, the use of our investments. What we are investing in AI, we are not investing somewhere else. And these are again choices that we make and choices that affect not only the technology in itself, but the world in general. And finally, if we look at the algorithmic power, we have seen again and again how biased, how distorted, how tendencies some of these algorithms can be, with all the societal problems that come from it. But at the same time, we need to remember ourselves again and again that there is no algorithm that runs without people behind the scenes. Those that collect the data, those that curate the data, those that are day and night making sure that the algorithms stay and the answers that generative AI gives stay within some kind of bounds. All this huge amount of people working in many cases in very precarious labor conditions are there to make sure that the algorithms have the power that we want to believe that they have. It's again human power behind it. So it's important to remember in all this that AI is not intelligent in the way that we would consider a person intelligent. It is a very specific understanding and intelligence, and at the same time is not as artificial as we would like to see because of all this dependency on natural resources, but also on human power. So trust on AI starts with understanding what is the choices that we are making and how those choices affect not only the algorithms that we are using, but also the societies and the world in which we are living. If we want to talk about rights, about trust, and we want to talk about, in many of the work I do, about governance and regulation of this type of systems, we need to start with human rights as the foundation. Nothing else is there in the world that guarantees that we minimally agree with each other. So any system that we want to be able to trust needs to be grounded, needs to be legitimate in terms of how these systems align with human rights and how much understanding of what human rights are and how it can be understood is part of the systems and the development and the choices that we are making. And how can we do that? How can we build and develop and use these systems in a responsible way? It starts by realizing that, contrary to a lot of the current narrative, AI doesn't happen to us. We people, we organizations, we society build these systems. There is nothing magical behind it. There is a lot of choices, a lot of options. And what we need to understand and ask not only ourselves, but also our politicians, our policymakers, and those that develop directly the systems is who is making the choices? Which choices are being made? Which values are considered to make those choices? And how are different choices and values prioritized? Different answers to these questions will lead to very, very different types of systems. AI is not the weather. It is something that we design, we can control, we can choose how to do it. And it starts by asking what is increasingly called the question zero, asking at every moment that you consider develop, using, deploying, applying AI, is AI the very best option for whatever I'm trying to do? Why is that? What are other options that I may have? And how can the understanding of these different options influence and inform my choice for AI? We need to motivate to ask why before we start asking how are we going to build this system. And these are questions that are fundamentally not the engineering or computing science questions. These are much more fundamental, much more questions, much more based on humanities, which shows that AI is no longer just a computer science subject, not just a type of engineering, but it's first and foremost a multidisciplinary domain in which we need the integration of many disciplines in order not only to build the systems, that's in a sense actually the easy part, but to understand how these systems and why are these systems desirable or undesirable, what kind of choices we are going to make. It is also important to realize that when we talk about AI, and especially when we talk about the governance, the regulation, or the responsibility within these systems, we are not talking about the software. We are not talking about the application, the system in itself. AI doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is always part of a much larger, much more complex social technical ecosystem. So when we talk about regulation or ethics or governance or whatever, we need to be talking about this ecosystem. It's not building trust within the model in itself only. It's building trust in the ecosystem in which these systems are being deployed, used, and managed. And also realizing that not all problems of AI, not all problems of technology, not all the mistakes and the ill effects of these systems can be fixed by technology alone. Many of the solutions for whatever problems we encounter are much more societal, organizational, political than they are technology fixes. So responsible AI solutions, the solutions that guarantee the trust in this type of systems, need to be much more grounded on the societal aspects than purely only technical solutions. And at the end, we have to realize that responsible AI is not a choice. The decisions that we make today determine whether it will become a tool for empowerment and trust or a source for control and inequality. So the choices are ours, the development, the directions in which we develop AI, the decisions we take about using or not using AI, all of those are choices that we take and that make the trust or not trust in these systems a factor to be considered. Thank you.
So thank you very much for this very insightful talk and also for this new perspective or this other perspective that goes away from technology and takes the bigger picture into account. So are there any questions from the audience? So Mike, so if there's no question, I have the question, what do you think is the role of technology? What can technology contribute if you say that it's more up a social issue, an organizational issue of law enforcement, whatever? So what should technology contribute? A better education of the people that don't understand and don't have the rational view on how AI works and what are the boundary conditions? What do you think?
Yeah. Very good question. Actually, very often I get the opposite question, the one about the societal aspects and so on. But I think, of course, at the end of the day, it is about the technology. It is about the possibilities that technology provides us to go further than what we can do by ourselves. Any technology works like that. We go faster with a car than what we would walk. We fly with an airplane when we cannot fly ourselves. So technology is always about empowering us to do better and do more. In that case, AI is not different at all. And the point is that we need to see technology much more as in the ways that it empowers us than purely about something which is detached or disconnected from the environment and the context in which it is being used and developed. That starts indeed by education, by understanding as engineers, as technologists, that there is a bigger picture than just the AI, the technology that we are developing is not just about solving the puzzle, but understanding why is this a puzzle and who is affected by the puzzle that we are trying to solve. So education is a very important one. On the other end, in the other side, it's also important to bring technological knowledge and technological understanding to other disciplines so that people don't see AI, in particular, as this magic thing which knows everything, does everything in ways that we don't really understand, but we only are awed and impressed by it without understanding the risks, the choices, the options that are behind it. So education needs to go in both ways. But at the same time, we also need to understand that it doesn't mean that we are going to develop the same type of education for everybody. From a technology side, we need to develop what I would say the equivalent to the car mechanics, the people that really understand how to develop and the technology and to build new paradigms, new models, and so on. From the other side, the non-technological side, it's maybe not so much as all of us becoming car mechanics in the AI field, but more maybe something like understanding the importance of having a driver's license when you drive a car. You don't need to understand exactly how the car works, but you need to have a basic understanding what you can or cannot do with that car. We are not really considering this type of licensing or a basic understanding for AI, and also those would be the type of educational difference that we need to indicate to consider, and at the same time understanding that, like I said, AI is not one single discipline, but we really need to much more learn to work in a multidisciplinary environment.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm looking in the audience. Is there any more questions? No questions at the moment. I think we have an important take-home message here. We need some kind of AI driver's license. So someone needs to come up with how to organize this. Yeah, and so thank you very much. Greetings to Sweden, and yeah, looking forward to further developments in the field. And yeah, I think you're also open to questions via email or whatever.
Yes.
So
sure.
Yeah. So
thank you very much. And indeed, if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.